Hello everyone, I hope you are doing very well in these extraordinary times. Welcome to the FF Virtual Arena where we're hosting you today. Today we're going to be taking a bit of a deep dive into insurance and the wonderful world of using automation, using AI to make it better for the customer, but also reduce the overall risk for the insurance carrier as well, which then leads to improving the customer experience. More customers come in, brings down the risk again. So we're looking at that kind of that AI flywheel as part of today. Joining me for today's virtual arena, we have Daniel. Daniel, I am going to mispronounce your surname, but I'm going to go for it. I know you told me earlier, but my brain's like a sieve. We have Daniel Cordioli.
Yeah, it's me.
I'll take that from Expert.Ai. Daniel, whereabouts in the world are you? Tell us a wee bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm in Verona right now, here in Italy. Before COVID, I was based in London. So looking forward to come back, guys.
And Expert.Ai, what's your guys' mission?
Our mission is, of course, working in the space of artificial intelligence. We got 30 years of history. And in particular, we are in the space of natural language understanding. We are teaching the software, the machine, how to read the document with the capacity of subject matter expert. So very focused in the last year also in the insurance sector. And we know the complexity to read the document for a human being. You can imagine for a software how it can be.
Excellent. And also joining us from esure, we have Chris Pearce. Chris, how are you doing today? Whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm good, thanks, Ali. So I'm in the UK, in Reigate, which is just outside of London, and I'm currently working as head of data science at esure Group, which is a digital insurance company that operates across the price comparison websites here in the UK. Esure is on a mission to fix insurance for good and really disrupt the market through innovative use of data and technology. So broadly there, I'm responsible for operationalizing machine learning across the enterprise, innovating on new data products, and for the business utilizing AI to create sort of new products and data sources to ensure essentially that our offers and services to customers remain relevant. In terms of background, I've been a practitioner and leader in the discipline for 15 years, a number of different industries, including FMCG, retail, banking, automotive, financial services, and I've also got an academic background with a PhD in computational statistics.
I'm always incredibly impressed by the amount of people that are. If you're working in data and data science, you've either got a PhD or you left school when you were 12 years old, and you've got that brain. There's kind of very few people in between.
It's a world of extremes. I've got grey hair to boot as well for my sins.
Well, let's set the scene a wee bit. Let's look kind of sort of pre the end of 2019. Would it be fair to say that the insurance industry it hadn't really taken to digital innovations on the same scale as the likes of banking has, where you've got the likes of Starling Bank, Starling, Monzo, and such? There seem to kind of be less sort of challenges. Would you say that's fair, and has that changed now? Daniel, I'm going to go to yourself first.
If we compare the financial services industry, insurance is at least 5-10 years behind in terms of technology adoption and innovation. It's clear that the pandemic dramatically changed the perception and the awareness. Everyone knows that the technology is no more an option, it's a kind of must-have. So the carriers realized that during this lockdown that they could properly sell, they could assess the risk. In other words, they could guarantee business continuity. So definitely something will change, or something is already start changing.
Absolutely. Chris, do you want to weigh in on here?
Yeah, I mean, having worked in both of those industries, I'd say it's a reasonable statement to make, which is ironic, given insurance is possibly the most data-rich industry there is. Given it's a saturated market and the requirement to buy some products is a legal one, it hasn't really precipitated the need to focus primarily on digitization of the business model. And the industry is involved in a certain way for a number of reasons. So, for example, the comparison websites have encouraged the industry into a place of focus, largely around price and value. sophistication tends to focus there, and the approaches to doing that have sort of converged over time. So, this for many has come at the expense of focusing in a more sort of customer-centric way, around aspects like journey, differentiated product, service, which is of huge importance, right? Given that usually the only time you use an insurance product is when things go wrong, and that often means it's a stressful situation. That in turn, I think, has led to poor customer sentiment and a general mistrust of the industry. And with customer expectations having also changed through experience of under industry products, insurance hasn't really kept pace with this, but the opportunity for change is definitely there. And indeed, COVID forced business models to adapt in entirely new remote ways of working, and the speed with which this was required to manifest certainly expedited the realization that going digital with appropriate focus was far more quickly possible than perhaps initially thought. So I think you'll see the vast majority of companies now aiming towards digital models, self-serve, multiple touch points, applications forming a core part of the strategy. And of course, technology, data, AI are at the heart of these ambitions.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there, especially around, for example, banking, getting a mortgage. You can able to buy something, massive positive sentiment. Whereas whether insurance, if it's in an ideal world, you pay your insurance provider and then you don't have to touch anything around that. So there's a very different sort of mindset, so to speak. You also said, I remember looking up this the other day, that the insurance as an industry is technically speaking, I believe, slightly bigger than banking as a whole. And it is safe to say that there's a fair bit of data that can be drawn from that, and data is the food for AI, for algorithms, for automation. With this sort of increased digitization of insurance, but also digital insurance providers, what insights can be pulled from the increased quantity, not quality, but the increased sheer volume of that data? Chris, I'm going to come back straight to yourself for this.
Yeah, sure. The possibilities are endless. You said it, insurance companies, they're such rich business models because you've got so many different operations and domains within that span between them almost every aspect of data science. So from pricing and marketing to reserving, premium finance, claims, fraud, operations in the call center, digital, customer, to name some. There are often multiple products under different brands, each with differing portfolios, and insights on how our customers engage in the market and with us are rife. Some examples are identifying customer needs, product utilization, sensitivity to pricing in the market, how customers engage with the business through their online account, via telephone, their driving behavior and preferences, their lifestyle choices, commuting habits, what's important to individuals at the point of renewing a product, or claiming for damage, or hiring a courtesy car, or getting their vehicle repaired. And operationally as well, we can use insight from data to better understand our partner services we work alongside, and that helps identify pain points, expense challenges, and we're able to sort of automate and optimize these for efficiency gains, which means essentially we can offer more seamless and stress-free experiences.
Absolutely. Daniel, what from your perspective, what are some of the insights that can be pulled from, again, the sheer volume of this data increasing?
With the increase, the data here is very important for the insurance, and as far as concerned the experience done in the last couple of years, I can identify three main areas in which we can tangible benefit. A better risk assessment. So considering that we have more information, the insurance can run a better assessment of the risk on a different report. So another one is a better knowledge of customer base and behavior. So I'm thinking the customer engagement or the claim management. So having a lot of data can allow to run some profilization of the customer and also know and extract a lot of relevant knowledge. And the last one is a better awareness of the disease exposure. In the last year, we found a lot of interest in the space of cyber policy review. So be able to understand what is going on is definitely one of the must-have So it looks that the overall objective is a shifting from detect and repair model to prevent and predict one.
This is what I've missed about some of the physical events, is those words and terminology that you just can't find from Googling. I adore that. The profilization of customers, where there's now enough data, you can almost have a segment of one. One of the things that I've always been quite impressed with, one of our colleagues has their pet insured via Brought by Many, and they try and do everything that they possibly can to not have to do a payment, but in a positive way, i.e. they will ensure that, okay, we know that this is the kind of dog you have or the kind of pet you have. Here's what we can do to basically make that pet healthier. They kind of take that kind of positive step based on the information that they have. I think that these sorts of insights that they're able to gain can be quite a big advantage to the customer, to the policyholder. Daniel, some of these sort of insights that we're drawing from this data, some of that kind of customization, as you mentioned, profilization. What are the benefits for the customer? What are the benefits for the policyholder?
For the policyholder, I think that one tangible benefit is the processing time. So all the insurer, they expect to have a faster reaction in submission, for example, in claims. So having more data and be able to process this data and extract knowledge from the data, of course, allow you to be more reactive in this kind of engagement with the customer. Another benefit is objectivity. I mean, when we are talking about artificial intelligence and software, so we can remove some bias that today is part of the human being. So we can introduce the technology across the entire value chain and expecting that they are working in the same way with the less subjectivities. And then also the last one is a better assessment of the analysis that we are doing, like for example, the risk, and be able to link risk and pricing in a better way. So there is tangible benefit for the policyholder.
Chris, I want to get an example out of you. What are some of the benefits from this for the policyholder?
Under pressure. So I know, esure certainly, they want to reform the types of products that we can offer to customers and make them more tailored and flexible and with more options that are relevant to any given circumstance. So, we want to be able to offer these services at the best possible price, at the press of a button, and make the whole research and buying journey a joy rather than a chore. So, leveraging modern technology will enable the ability to start interacting with our customers in real time, where there's a purpose to, and we'll be able to respond to the market more dynamically and adjust and fine-tune our offerings in accordance to how the market responds, ultimately offering our products at the right moment in the right context. This coupled with the ability to easily see how our customers interact across the whole business and the product lifecycle means we can engage with them better when it matters most and give them the finest instant support when they need us the most. And we can test and learn those products and evolve them in line with our customer feedback, all using that data. So, ultimately this boils down to large-scale personalization, helping people drive more safely, reduce accidents on the road and have the cover that they need for their peace of mind. So essentially, you're creating intuitive, transparent, pain-free digital journeys to ensure that customers always get a fair deal, but also that they're supported by empathetic service when it matters most to them.
So I assume with this is all nice paper-based. You've got reams of a folder for each customer. You have armies of people looking through kind of each of the various folders for each customer to start to kind of deliver that personalization. And you just keep throwing people and paper at it, or are you using some kind of data science or some kind of AI? How critical is it to use kind of, again, modern technology like AI and data science to process this data?
Well, certainly gone are the days where we're throwing more people at looking at paper documents, for sure. So, AI it's central. With the volumes of data being so vast now and ever growing, coupled with the need to, assimilate that data, understand it, act on it, and subsequently learn from it quickly. Never has AI been so crucial. And AI, of course, is an expansive term, right? It covers machine learning, robotics, deep learning, to name the salient areas. But it's not just about hiring data scientists and letting algorithms loose to spontaneously affect change. Around AI needs to be technology and data strategy, system integration, robust architecture, infrastructure, an engineering and DevOps community. You need BAs, product owners, testers, networking. You need a platform, environment. All of this needs appropriate security and governance around it. And critically today, all of this needs to be constructed in a way that is adaptive and can evolve to the rapidly changing market and the customer needs within. And that comes at a price, of course. So, I always think AI is not just about predictive modeling, chatbots and recommender systems. It's about a company mindset, a cultural change and a unified approach across a business. It's about how you bring technology, cross-functional collaboration, human creativity and hard science together harmoniously and robustly in order to understand and meet the needs of the people you service. And all of that often means transformation. But you do that right, and AI becomes the driving engine of decision making.
So you can't just bolt some AI onto it?
Oh, that would make my life easier if we could.
Excellent. Daniel, from your perspective, obviously you guys at Expert.Ai have got some fantastic tools. Now that there's, again, that volume of data and the opportunity to kind of draw those various elements out for things like personalization, how critical is AI to actually making sense of that information from your perspective?
Yeah, definitely is critical. And I agree with Chris. AI is an umbrella of different type of technology. And according to the different use case, you can use one or another one. Extracting value from data is fundamental. So here I just mentioned technology and data. But the technology and data are just two of the four pillars that are fundamental to successfully deliver a project in the space. We also take in consideration people and process. And in particular, people, I'm referring to the data scientists and all to the people working in the ecosystem of artificial intelligence, but also stakeholder and the people that are working on insurance side, that basically they have to embrace the change, and also process and methodology. As Chris said, it's not just a plug and play. You put AI in the company and like a magic box, everything works. You have to introduce to create a culture, and it's a transformation period that you have to start.
I want to bring the subject a little bit away from the customer experience now to the insurer themselves, to reducing risk. What are one of the examples I saw was actually coming out of China via one of the labs funded by Alipay, and it was car accident simulation, and I think it was 6 seconds to identify what possibly could have happened in this particular car accident, simulating what had happened, and then figuring out who was at fault in that instance, and then where the insurance lies. Cool concept. They need a lot more data to make it work in every possible scenario. But in terms of reducing risk, what can AI mean for reducing risk across the board? Daniel, can I come to you for this?
Reducing risk, as you said, is one of the goals that all the insurers want to achieve. And the risk is the core business for all the insurance. So having more data, have the possibility to extract knowledge from this data. So basically gave to the insurance the possibility to analyze and comprehend better what they have, simulate some specific situation like the one that you mentioned. And there is also another point that we found very relevant in the last year, is the capabilities to identify the unintended risk exposure that basically are written in the document, maybe are not properly described, but they represent a strong pain point for the insurance. And having the AI that can help to better identify this one is no-brainer. It's something that basically empower the human capabilities within the insurance.
Excellent, Chris. From your side of things, obviously at Esure, what can AI do in terms of reducing risk?
Yeah, and to your point, Ali, I think that there's lots of work going on around things like assessing liability and damages and responsibility and costs. But to me, it's not just about that. Product comes into it too, because what if we're able to offer products that are flexible in terms of the amount you drive or based off your driving patterns, right? What if we're able to offer you money back if you drive less or more safely or more greenly? What if you could be offered bespoke incentives that are tailored to you to encourage you to be more environmentally aware of your journeys and your commuting choices? And what if we could help substantially grow the electric vehicle market, for example, to play a part in reducing the strain on the planet? Google Maps, for example, can redirect us away from that road, which had roadworks put up last week and is going to delay you by 20 minutes dropping your kids off at nursery. But why can't insurers, right? After all, they're the ones that have had the black boxes in your car all of these years. And, whilst this might not sound novel, is anyone doing it? And what matters most, of course, is how one does it. And being able to leverage AI in the right way with the right data means, not only do we understand more about our customers, but ultimately we can be better at what we offer them and having that balancing element of, assessing that risk fairly and ethically. And of course, if you're successful at doing that, essentially what that means is you can offer more to your customer. You build up that loyalty where it's warranted, and that has an impact on tenure and therefore risk as well, and you can manage that as you move forward.
One of the things I find interesting about insurance, there's a lot of customer submitted information, especially because I think insurance is, you mentioned there in terms of the 10-year time period. The time period for insurance is you're working on business plans that are a lot longer than other industries. And so some of the data that you have is customer submitted information from 10, 15, 20 years ago. How can AI be used to help in this regard, as some of that information may be deliberately or accidentally not as accurate as some automated information? Chris?
Yeah, I mean, with increasing amounts of touch points a customer can engage with us, there's definitely becoming ever increasing amounts of information available about those experiences and occasions, and that's undoubtedly true. In particular, the capture of what we call unstructured data has proliferated in insurance. So understanding customer experience during a phone call, whether that was registering a claim or discussing a repair or negotiating on price, having shopped around, is key to personalization and refining said experiences. And customers often make changes to their policies midterm, right? And increasingly this is managed online through self-serve portals. On the rise, are use of mobile phones to capture images of incidents and damages that can be submitted as supporting evidence to claims and costings. And AI methods are extremely effective at teasing out patterns and trends in data sets of this type. Whether that be natural language processing, text or image classification and transformers, or sentiment analysis, this branch of AI can uncover the minutiae of details and interactions we have that can often be missed by human ear or eye, and help refine process, proposition, and create new ways of dealing with, prioritizing and supporting the myriad of needs that our customers have.
Absolutely. I'm always impressed with, are you familiar with Flock, the drone insurance?
Yeah.
I love the idea that before it was able to kind of tap into your flight history, it almost would give you a drop-down menu of how confident a flyer are you. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm a brilliant flyer of the drone, but it can actually take the telemetrics from the drone and kind of assign you how confident a flyer you are, and take your own opinion out of the equation there. Daniel, from your perspective, let's talk a little bit further around that customer submitted information, because some of that information shouldn't just be completely disregarded. How can AI be used to help with some of this historic customer submitted data?
We got a lot of data, proliferation of unstructured data in insurance, and a lot of other unstructured data is generated every single day. So be able, using AI, to transform unstructured data in structured data is quite mandatory. So there is a specific area of artificial intelligence that is called natural language understanding, that basically allow to understand the language and be able to extract insight and knowledge from this unstructured data. So understanding here's an ambiguous terminology, and I want to share with you an example. Let's take, for example, in consideration a medical claim coming from a customer. If I give this document to read to my 10-year-old daughters, of course, she can read the document. She can tell me the name of the people. She can identify some entities within the document. But of course, in terms of give a quotation to the claim, she got no idea. If I give the same document to a newbie, a fresh graduate, start working as a claim handler, he can infer something more. He can classify. He can identify, for example, the type of pain or injuries that the customer has. But if I give the same document to read to a doctor, the doctor definitely can connect the dot, identify the past medical history, and report, for example, some fraud or some situation. So the goal that we have here in Expert.Ai is transforming software in a doctor, not in my 10-year-old daughters. And this is what AI is going. We want to transform the way in which we analyze unstructured data, and we want to empower the software with a lot of knowledge coming from the domain and coming from the human experience.
Excellent. I like that as a nice example there. Right, finally, lads, I want to get out our crystal balls and have a look around what some of these innovations within AI means for the insurance industry moving forward. So, Chris, first of all, within your predictions, how vital do you see all of these tools moving forward? Is this going to be the norm in terms of how insurance firms are going to be structured all around that AI model? Or is this what's in your crystal ball?
Yes, it's a good question. In the most unpredictable of times, right? The insurance market, it will only be seen as a force for good if it can anticipate and react to the ever-changing lifestyles, expectations and needs that customers have in the modern era. Not least this has been further fueled as a result of the pandemic, right? As you alluded to earlier, people have been driving less, the property market has shifted materially, the availability and cost of vehicle parts has transformed, hybrid working's on the rise, and so driving behaviour and patterns will adjust. Very recently we've got the challenges of inflation, continuing pressures on supply chains and incoming regulatory changes on pricing. So, whilst no doubt monumentally challenging, never has this scale of change at once represented an opportunity to radically change brand, mission, the way the market works and the products on offer. So, I think those that are putting data, digitization, technology and the right culture and talent together stand to be the winners in reforming the industry and the people that work and buy within it. This represents a boom in talent creation, career opportunity, fresh thinking, and I think the most exciting time I've seen in the industry despite the wider economic backdrop. So I think we'll see, or at least we'll start to begin to see, increasingly more propositions that are new, with an increasing focus on the environmental impact of the industry and the ways in which customers engage with their suppliers.
Excellent. And Daniel, let's get your crystal ball out. What is kind of in your predictions for the future around how these tools are going to affect the industry moving forward?
Good question. I think that of course there will be a strong impact. Let me say that I think that changing the traditional model and become more technology driven will be probably the only way to compete in the market in the next 10 years. And what I'm expecting is that the cool terms insurtech today, it will be probably disappear in the next years, because all the insurance will be insurtech. So technology, I think, will be the center of all the operation.
There we are. That's the pull quote there for the magazine piece. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with us today. First of all, Chris, where can we find out more about yourself and esure? Where's the best way to reach out to you? What's your TikTok channel?
I'm too old for TikTok, although my son's the expert on that. So you can learn more about me on LinkedIn, of course, but esure have a big company presence on LinkedIn itself. Go to their website, check it out. It's not just somewhere you quote for a product. It has all sorts of information on the business, its ambitions, its strategy, what it's doing in the market, in the industry, and in the community. And you'll find lots of information about what our employees and colleagues do across the business.
Excellent. And Daniel, let's get your TikTok channel and where to find out more about yourself and Expert.Ai.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older for TikTok. So I think probably it's better move on LinkedIn when we can find a lot of information about myself. And of course, our corporate website, Expert.Ai, it contains a lot of use cases, story, and the way in which we are applying artificial intelligence in the industry.
Brilliant. Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with us. And we will see you all soon for the next FF Arena of the InsurTech division.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward. Thank you for your time.